Cheikh Anta Diop, a man who challenged the entire academic world and dared to say Africa is not the forgotten continent of history, it is the beginning of it. Don't be stuck and dumb forever, let's learn and grow together. It's Hef the philosopher. Dope was a scholar, a scientist, a rebel, and a cultural architect who flipped the script on everything we were taught about ancient Egypt. So if you're ever been told that Egypt wasn't black or that civilization started somewhere else, buckle up. Because after this video, you'll never see history the same way again. I promise you. Cheikh Anta Diop was born in 1923 in Senegal. From an early age, his brilliance wasn't just obvious, it was uncontainable. He didn't just study one thing, he studied everything from physics at the University of Paris, history, Egyptology, linguistics. He mastered Wolof, French, English, German, Russian, and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, better known as Medu Neter. Think about that. While European scholars were piecing together narrow ideas with limited tools, Diop came with carbon dating, melanin tests, and language trees. He wasn't just reading dusty scrolls, he was running experiments, collecting data, calling out the academic frauds with receipts. At the University of Dakar, he even built the first carbon dating lab in all of Africa. This man didn't wait for Western institutions to validate Africa. He built his own labs, trained his own scholars, wrote his own truths. Now I know what you're thinking, so what was Diop's main mission? His mission was to prove that ancient Egypt was a black African civilization, not just influenced by Africa, but created by Africans, and not just metaphorically. No, it was literally, biologically, linguistically, culturally proven. Let's break down his evidence. He ran lab tests on mummy skin and proved they had black melanin levels. He showed ancient Egyptians shared deep roots with Wolof and other African languages. Look at the statues and murals. Full lips, broad noses, tightly curled hair. These people looked like us. They were us. From matrilineal traditions to divine kingship and cosmology, the spiritual and social system of Egypt echoed all across sub-Saharan Africa. Diop wasn't guessing. He was demonstrating with data what we always felt in our spirit, that Africa is the origin, not the afterthought of world civilization. Why was Diop's work considered so radical? Well, because he was attacking the foundation of Eurocentric history, the idea that civilization came to Africa from Europe or Asia. That idea wasn't about truth, it was about power, power, power. Colonial scholars said Egyptians were Mediterranean, not really black. Civilization crossed the desert into Africa, not the other way around. But you know what Diop asks? Well, he asks, why would the world's most complex ancient society form in North Africa and have no ties to the rest of the continent below it? That makes no sense geographically, biologically, or culturally. He called out the academic gymnastics, words like Hamitic, Mediterranean, Negro, or Caucasoid with Negro features. That's an oxymoron, ain't it? All invented just to avoid saying they were black. Because if Africa gave the world its first civilization, then colonialism loses its moral high ground. Then white supremacy collapses under the weight of truth. And that's what Diop threatened. Not with violence, of course, but with facts. Yes, man, facts. The turning point came in 1974 at the UNESCO Symposium in Cairo. This was the Super Bowl of Egyptology, so to speak, and the room was filled with European and American scholars ready to dismiss Diop. But what happened? Diop and his colleague, Theophile Obinga, walked in fully loaded with evidence on their melanin dosage results, blood group comparisons, cultural parallels, and a complete linguistic breakdown connecting ancient Egypt to sub-Saharan African languages. What about the other scholars? What about them? They couldn't refute a single point. The final report acknowledged black African elements in Egypt's population for the first time publicly and officially. Now, did Western scholars fully accept it afterwards? No, of course not, but Diop's victory was historic. The world could never again pretend he didn't prove what he proved. Even after the symposium, academic resistance was fierce. Why was that? Because this wasn't just about mummies, it was about power structures. Egypt was detached from Africa on maps. Negro features and statues were ignored or misclassified. Museums downplayed dark-skinned, representations. Dope's work was dismissed as political, not scientific, but Dope knew better. He once wrote, "The moral fruit of their civilization is to be counted among the assets of the black world." He knew that restoring historical truth was about more than credit. It was about restoring dignity. It was about giving black people worldwide the right to say, "We were first, we were brilliant, and we still are." Today, Cheikh Anta Diop's name echoes across Africa and the diaspora. The University of Dakar is now named after him. What an honor, and it was much deserved. His works are studied in African Studies Department around the world. Scholars like Asante built Afrocentricity on his foundation, and more than that, he gave us methodology. Use science, use language, use art, use culture. Tell the truth with the use of receipts. He empowered us to challenge lies, not with emotion alone, but with rigor. I mean rigor. And in doing so, he helped ignite a cultural and political renaissance across the globe. Dope's story is proof that truth doesn't die, even when it's buried under centuries of lies. His work forces us to ask, what else have we been taught that is false? What other histories have been hidden? And more importantly, what will we do with this knowledge? Because now that you know better, you owe it to yourself and your people to think better. I'll leave you with this. Put your thinkers on. It's Hef, free game. Like, share, subscribe, and remember, we were never meant to stay at the bottom. We built the top.
Здесь я просто делал то, что умел делать либо я просто совру, сказав, что